this? Oh my goodness, you think I'm learning what I'm doing. I'm Susan Smith. Welcome into my studio, Stitched by Susan. As YouTube fires this out to a few more people, let's chat about what Saturday holds. What's Saturday looking like for you? For me, I'm going to get some work done, hopefully on this quilt. And then this afternoon, we're attending a memorial for a very good friend that just passed away. And tonight, our grandkids are arriving. Well, daughter and son-in-law too, but mostly the grandkids, right? They live about 1,000 miles north of us. So they're driving and will be here this evening. So of course, we're beyond excited to see the little grand people. They are the best. Yeah, we keep getting updates on the road as they're driving through Jasper and through some other cities in Alberta. And so, you know, the kids are all, why don't we fly now? Why don't we get on an airplane now? And this is taking so long and all those sorts of things, you can imagine. Anyway, I'm so looking forward to them being here. So all next week, I'll still be coming live, but they will be here. And so you might get the pitter-pat of small feet throughout next week's videos. But today I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about where, for me anyway, where my eyes are when I'm quilting and kind of why that is. And this quilt is such a good example of it because I'm quilting a number of things that are point to point. So for example, in the top of these baskets, I'll just lower the camera a tiny touch. In the top of these baskets, I'm going point to point as arcs. And in the larger areas, I'm doing some arcs too. And some of these are 5 inches long. So that's a fairly long arc. How do you get that smooth? Well, my number one tip for you is pretty much always when you're quilting free motion, your eye should not be on the needle. Somehow that is just too close. You make too jerky of adjustments and you're just literally too close to it when you're watching that nearly. Marion caught you near the beginning today. Let's see who else is tuning in. Donna, Debbie. Debbie, you're so faithfully joining. Anyway, I tell the story lots of times about when I was learning to drive, and you may have someone who taught you this too when you were learning to drive a vehicle. I was, you know, stiff and tight when I was first learning to drive and looking kind of at the nose of my vehicle and making adjustments and trying to stay between the white lines, right? Keep control of the vehicle. And this friend said to me, you'll do much better if you lift your eyes and look way further out down the road, and it makes your adjustments much more subtle and much smaller because you're not trying to adjust in the moment right here, but you're making that gradual adjustment with the bigger picture in mind. The same thing absolutely holds true when you're machine quilting, particularly free motion quilting. So as it applies to the arcs that I'm quilting on this quilt today, when I launch from one point and I'm making an arc, when I launch from this point, my eyes are already going boop right to this point. And my needle follows and I get a smoother curve and a more symmetrical curve, right? By having my eye at the beginning and then my eye at the end while I'm quilting. My curve ends up being way more symmetrical than if I try to follow my needle and make a painstaking curve. Does that make sense? Try it for yourself. I find it to be true. So when I'm quilting arcs, my eye is always moving to the next dot where I'm going to join. And then as my needle gets there and I tuck my stitches right in that point, that corner, then my eye pops right to the next corner. And then I gradually drive there and my eye pops to the next corner. And that's how it works for me. So if you haven't thought of it before, give that a try. I know that I talk different times about being in control of your machine at all times. And you know, I can remember early in my quilting journey, particularly with arcs like this, somehow I had in my head that you needed to get a swinging motion. And if you had a good motion, it would make a beautiful arc and it would land up where you wanted it. I have not found that to actually be true. I have found that I get much better arcs if I'm going slow enough that I'm in control, that whole arc shape. Yet, having my eyes lifted a little bit and where I'm ending, my needle much more smoothly follows where my eyes have gone and gives me a much, much smoother result. So let's see if any of you are chiming in with thoughts about this. Diane is saying the picture is blurry. I think that might be your device, maybe, Diane. I'm not hearing others say that. It's clear on my end, and my husband's watching from upstairs, so Mr. Producer would tell me if I was blurry, I feel like. Bethany loves the quilts. Yes, it's a client quilt, and it is beautiful. Carol is saying, does it work to use a ruler to start with, then try without? Good question, Carol. I also have quilting friends who don't love to do arcs, free motion, and they tend, even though they're very experienced quilters, to always use a ruler. I don't know that there's a smooth transition from quilting it with a ruler to quilting it without. I think you've just got to bite the bullet and try doing it without. It's so much faster to just do it, you know, your eye jumps, you quilt, your eye jumps, you quilt, in my opinion. Now, where a ruler could be helpful is in maybe helping you visualize the arc, like how far should it curve out, for example. And so quilting with a ruler a few times might help you visualize what you want that result to be like. How deep do you want the arc to be, for example? And that will vary based on the size of the arc that you're quilting as well, too. So, okay, let's see what other comments we've got. Oh, Diane got it sharper. Yeah, good, good, good. Let's see, I'm just trying to see if there are any other questions. Marion, what if you were outlining a design? Do you mean like stitching in the ditch around a design, Marion? If that's the case, I usually use a ruler for that. Even like whether it's a straight line and I'm using a straight ruler or whether it's some kind of curve, the ruler just provides a bit of a barrier for my hopper foot to rest against so it never gets away from me. So for example, I will sometimes use a straight ruler even on a curved applique shape because I can shift the ruler and it just gives me a little more control of where my hopper foot is. See if that answered your question. You did say like applique, so I hope that answered your question, Marion. Debbie, I hit the target every time I look ahead to where I'm going. Yes, it's kind of hard to put into words, but it really does work. If your eye is already there, your needle will smoothly follow. Just like your car will smoothly make adjustments within the lines, right? The lines of the road. Give it a try. Give it a try. Teresa, good morning, Susan. I just noticed the red organizer on the wall behind your machine. Where is that purchased? Teresa, I don't know. A friend gave it to me and I don't know where she got it, but I do love it. It's got a little bar on the bottom. You can kind of see that, and I just have simple S hooks hanging on it for a few things to hang on. I don't keep a lot of rulers in my studio, so I don't actually have a dresser with drawers like many quilters do. I'm not an immense ruler quilter. I just have a few favorites, and really that's it. But that's just me. Okay, I think we caught all those comments. Teresa mentioned some time ago that she got it at IKEA. No, I don't think I got it at IKEA. My friend Pris gave it to me. So yeah, I would look at Target, as Diane suggested. They might have something similar. You might have a woodworking friend. Who knows? Anyway, that was today's topic, where my eyes are when I'm quilting. And we talked specifically about arcs today because that's what I'm doing a lot of on this quilt. But the principle remains true. Even when I'm doing an all-over edge-to-edge design, my eyes will often be out in front, where I'm going. If I'm echoing a previous flower or something like that, my eyes will almost always be in front, where I want to go, not where my needle is actually piercing right now. It just helps smooth out your reactions, your corrections, and they just get smoother and less abrupt when you look ahead of where you're working. So that's my top tip. Okay, I'm coming live every day, Monday through Saturday, for a couple of more weeks. Later next week, I'm going to be opening up enrollment to a workshop. And honestly, it doesn't have a title yet. I wish I could get the hive mind on this and decide what my title should be and ask all of you. But I'm going to be talking about the obstacles that I think hold people back from thinking they can be a competent and a confident free motion quilter. So, it's not a, well, that's all I'll say about that. The workshop's opening. I'll talk more about it next week as it progresses and evolves in my mind. But lots of pictures in that because I really do want to connect and share some of my journey and the things that have made me feel like a confident quilter and how that can be your story too. So that's what I want to talk about in that workshop. So again, later next week, that will be opening up. Meantime, thumbs up if you've enjoyed this episode. Know that all of my daily chats are in the May 2025 Daily Snippets playlist, right? So under my channel, you'll see a tab for playlist, and they'll all be listed there. You can find them. What else should I say about that? I think that's all. Click the notification bell if you want to be notified at the time that I'm actually going live. Debbie, Grow Your Confidence Workshop. You're so good, Debbie. I was thinking it should be something like Decaf Your Doubts, because I'm such a coffee snob, right? Yeah, pretty funny, but I probably won't call it that. We could. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining me. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I will see you again on Monday. Grandkids in tow. See you then.